Hey, it's Bobby Bones with some exciting news. Open booking is here for the Top Shelf Country Cruise, setting sail February 2026 aboard the luxurious Celebrity Reflection. Spots are filling up fast, so book your stateroom today or sign up to become a lineup insider to receive the final lineup 48 hours prior to the public. Don't miss your chance to make February 2026 unforgettable. Visit TopShelfCountryCruise.com. That's TopShelfCountryCruise.com.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Because you can't eat glue. We've been over this.
Okay, but what if there were edible glue? Then you could eat.
I'm not having that fight again. We had that fight last week.
Probably have it again, though.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace. No.
Oh, God. Heath, Eli, what are you guys... What? No,
Yeah, I
wait,
thought you were
no.
gonna do it again.
What are you doing?
We're on strike.
Yeah, strike. Exactly.
From what? What are you on strike from?
The show. From the show.
Ugh.
We want better working conditions.
And better pay.
Yeah, me too. I'm on your side now.
Tom, what the fuck? Seriously, man?
Well, sorry, they had me at better pay. You heard him say better pay.
God.
You did say better pay.
Guys, we can't go on strike. We do not have any bosses.
Okay, but what about our working conditions?
Heath, you record for a half an hour each week.
It's 45 sometimes.
Plus, my standing desk
More.
makes me tired.
Well, then sit down, man.
And let deep vein thrombosis win? No, thank you, Cecil.
Oh, God.
Okay, but we still haven't addressed the better pay issue. Better pay. You said it.
Tom, we get paid by the people who like the show and support us on Patreon. We can't go on strike against our patrons.
Unless...
No, we are not putting the show behind a paywall. We had that discussion. No.
We can barely get people to listen to it for free.
That's not a great idea, actually.
Okay, fine. But will you at least stop spraying me and Heath with hoses?
Are you going to bathe?
No.
No.
Then no.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, and that's how it works now. I'm Heath, and the proletariat shall rise up. And joining me for the revolution that will be podcasted are three men who ignored the peace and land and went straight for the bread: Cecil, Tom, and Eli.
Carb loading. All the Democrats, socialists in the House say, holla! Holla!
That's fantastic. You had me at bread
That's really
and
fantastic,
circuses. And circus women. You had me at circus women. I was...
Okay. Noted.
And I would like to apologize for fucking up the whole every man to his means thing. Again. Nobody was counting on me when they said that.
And also joining us, we have the specter of communism. Noah is here.
He's not.
Nope.
He's
Oh,
not
that's
here.
right. That's right.
Not
He's haunting Europe. He'll be back next week. Some amazing communism references in there. The manifesto, just so everybody.
Yeah, no, we got it.
Eli
Loving it.
tried to make one. He got
All the people
got the
who
words
fight...
wrong. It's, from each according to his ability. And that's not even from the manifesto. That's from the critique of the Gotha program. It's fine though, but it's Marx.
I'm already fighting you on Twitter, just so you know. You're
Get
already
in
a
fucking
bigot.
line, buddy.
Jesus Christ.
All right, let's get right into it. Eli, tell us, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event are we going to be talking about today?
Well, thanks to fantastic patron Andrew suggested no fewer than 3 times we cover Eugene V Debs.
Excellent. Great pick. My aunt is actually named after Eugene V Debs, Deborah. Yeah.
Deborah.
Yeah. Pretty cool. And Cecil, you're obviously a 9th level secret agent of the corporate overlords. Are you ready to tell us about an amazing socialist icon, but with subliminal shades of sabotage throughout?
Look, I'm just saying, with all the claiming of other people's shit, this guy's name should have been Eugene Debs. That's all.
All right. So, what is the origin story of Bernie Sanders? Go.
Yeah, this happens 10 years before Bernie Sanders is born.
It's really close. I know.
Yeah, all right.
At the beginning of time.
I just want to announce right at the beginning, I love Bernie Sanders.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
actually, I think we all need to get that out just so people don't
he's
fucking send us
fantastic.
hate mail.
Bernie Sanders is fucking fantastic. I
okay.
don't like that Joe Biden. It's fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
I don't like
All
that
right.
he's Jewish.
Weird. Weird critique. Okay. I'll
All
say
right,
it.
guys, I want you guys to sit back for a second. Imagine, if you can, a time when the United States was plagued by incredible wealth inequality, where workers had few rights, where people were exploited on a daily basis, where the working class felt as if they had no voice, where people quickly fell into debt and then into poverty. I know this sounds like science fiction. Well, I'm here to tell you that there was a time just like this in American history, as wacky as that sounds. That time happened only once, and we got a lot better since then. We've not had any problems since, so we're good.
You know what probably fixed it was a youth-led revolution of 11% of the available electorate. That's fucking crushed it. Yes.
Tom also loves Bernie Sanders, to be clear. He didn't say it
11%.
earlier.
And
That
so
is
do
how you get it done.
11% of the young people. 11% really
Old
love
people
him.
came out in higher numbers too. It's fine. He's
Youth-led revolution.
he's not going to win.
89% of the youth did not lead.
It's real sad.
No.
Reeling it in, guys. Here we go.
All right.
In all seriousness, the labor laws and workers' rights of the turn of the 20th century were fucking abysmal. This is before 40-hour work weeks. This is before weekends off, paid time off, child labor laws, and really so many other things that we take for granted in today's workplace. It was during that time that the unions and labor strikes and the socialists helped pave the way. And this week's show is about one very famous socialist that ran for president 4 times and never once had to get into a fist fight at a brokered convention.
Well, I think what Cecil's saying is we're all very much hoping to watch Tulsi Gabbard get punched in the face by a Dalmatian at the convention. That's what we all want to see.
Hey, Cecil, what I'm hearing you say is 2 down, 2 to go? All right.
Wouldn't it be great if Tulsi Gabbard comes out on stage and she had cut Hillary Clinton's face off and she's wearing it like the ambulance scene
Like a skin mask?
from Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah.
You had
that's
me
gonna
at,
happen.
You
I'm
had me
saying.
at if she
Yeah.
had cut Hillary Clinton's face off. So yeah, man.
Okay. Our story starts in Terre Haute, Indiana in 1855. Jean Daniel and Marguerite Debs emigrate from the Alsace region of France and have 5 children. One of them is named after their favorite authors, Eugene Sue and Victor Hugo. His name, Eugene Victor Debs.
Okay. Now I'm picturing the confrontation from Les Mis, but it's Bernie and Biden. That's all I can see right now.
Before you say another word, Javert, I'm once again asking for your financial support.
You must think me mad. Hunted you? I know you're Eugene
So at the end,
V.
keep going.
Debs.
Keep going.
The whole
Keep
thing.
going. No,
Just-
you're not going to keep going.
If
We're
you
gonna,
think I
we're
won't
gonna
do
move on.
all of Les Mis
No,
from beginning
we're not
to end?
going to do all of Les Mis. We're not doing it. No.
Bernie,
The age of
at
no.
last,
At the
we
age of
see
14.
each other plain.
No. No.
Monsieur
No.
le Maire.
No.
I know you're Eugene V. Debs.
I quit the show. I quit. At the age of 14, Debs drops out of school and becomes a painter for the railroad, painting and scraping paint from railroad cars. An interesting story is that he used his first 2 days of wages to buy a paint scraper. And he
2
kept that
days for a
scraper.
paint scraper?
I know. And he kept that paint scraper as a prized possession until he died, which says a lot about both workplace equipment availability and prized possessions around 1870.
Wait, if he opted for one that wasn't like diamond plated, he would have been able to get that little shit. Like 3 months' wages is for a fucking engagement ring, not a paint scraper.
Look, Eugene, buy the one that's seen on TV. Don't go for the big one. After a few years working as a painter, he climbs the corporate ladder. One of the other employees on the railroad, a locomotive fireman, misses work because he's drunk. So Debs steps up and starts doing that work, which consisted of shoveling coal into a raging furnace on a steam-powered locomotive that ran between Terre Haute and Indianapolis. Clearly, one of the circles of hell. Indiana, I mean, is one of the circles of hell. So,
You guys really hate Indiana so much.
we do.
Hey, say what you will about the 1870s, but calling dibs is a pretty cool way to get a new job, right?
That's very true.
He's not here today. I'm the fire guy now. Calling Debs.
A true story. Indiana still smells like that train fire to this day. Hasn't changed.
That and methane, absolutely.
God.
After a few years on the horrific job, he decides to change professions and starts working at a grocery warehouse.
Wait, that was available before he took the shoveling coal into a raging
I'm
inferno?
not sure. I don't know exactly what was on monster.com back then, Tom, but it might have been.
Glassdoor was literally just a glass door to your boss's office. You yelled how much you made through it.
And then he killed you. But in 1875, Debs joined the Brotherhood of Locomotive Firemen and became active in the organization. In the next few years, he's editing their monthly magazine, serving as their delegate for his chapter at the National Convention. He wasn't even working as a fireman at this time. He just liked the people, I guess. And these brotherhoods were not like the unions of today. They were more like social clubs anyway.
Oh, okay. So like a teachers union.
Yeah,
Like the Wisconsin teachers union.
the brotherhoods focused on building community among the workers rather than leveraging their collective bargaining. They viewed labor and capital as friends. So
That's
labor striking was,
false.
at this point, looked down upon by the Brotherhood and by Debs himself. And you could hardly blame him. Strikes back then could turn deadly when strikers clashed with militias. Many strikes ended with rioting and mass destruction. A quote from Wikipedia here. Quote, "The Brotherhood had never authorized a strike from its founding in 1873 to 1887, a record which Debs was proud of," end quote.
Right. And I totally get it. Joe Biden voted several times during that stretch to murder the striking unions with militias. He did that. That is in his voting record. But he's still better than Trump. That's so very important. The second part. And he doesn't even remember it. I don't know why you guys are mad about a thing he doesn't. Okay, don't do that.
That no striking record is like a weird thing to be proud of. It's like, we haven't used the nuclear option in 14 years. But okay, that's not even a long stretch of time. That's all I'm saying.
At this point, Debs wonders if this is really the right way to affect change in the world and decides briefly to instead pursue a job in the government as a politician. In late 1870, he served as city clerk, and then in 1884, he became the state representative for Indiana's General Assembly. But after one term, he decided not to run again. Debs joined the legislature all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed with plans to help labor and push for women's rights, but was appalled by the vote trading and dealing that went on. It sounds like it ruined his idea how the government works, so he gave it up and went back to organizing labor.
I mean, it taught him about how the government worked.
During the next several years, labor clashed with business all over the United States. The Haymarket bombing took place in 1886 when the police attacked a peaceful rally and a worker responded by throwing dynamite at the police.
Okay, so not entirely peaceful. They brought dynamite.
Okay.
Like they
I guess I wrote that sentence badly. I think it happened at two separate days.
Well, no,
so
it
the
was
police,
peaceful until
the
that
police
happened.
came
It's
over.
true.
Yeah, no, the police came over, beat the shit out of
Yeah.
a bunch of them, and the next day somebody's like, "Eat some dynamite, motherfucker."
They drew first blood.
Yeah.
The police.
Han shot first. That's all I'm saying.
No, it's true. They did.
So anyway, that could probably be its own episode. And in 1886, there was the Bayview Massacre when the National Guard fired on 14,000 striking workers. And it should probably be its own episode too. And in 1892, there was the Homestead Massacre in Pennsylvania where the Pinkertons killed steel workers on strike. And that should probably be, you guys know what I'm going to say.
Okay, yeah, but if we did all those, then how could we fit in all the essays about internet rumors and like vegetables we can fuck? Right? Like priorities, for God's sake.
It's true.
So Debs is involved in the Burlington Railroad strike of 1888.
Interesting.
The railroad workers demanded higher
Bernie
wages.
was mayor of Burlington.
Seniority rights, and grievance procedures. The workers did strike, but the railroad brought in the Pinkertons and hired scabs and broke the strike in a month. In the wake of this, Debs leaves the Brotherhood and starts one of the first industrial unions in the United States, the American Railway Union. In its first year, in 1894, they successfully got demands met for the workers during the Great Northern Railway strike.
I love that one of the demands was grievance procedures. So, like, one of their big complaints was they had no good way to complain.
Yeah, right?
You got to fix that.
Yeah, they got a suggestion box out of it. It was amazing. In 1894, Debs became involved with the Pullman strike. Pullman train cars were plush sleeper train cars. They were made in a factory town just south of Chicago. And when I say factory town, I mean the factory owned the town. Like Chris Walken's mining town in The Rundown, the greatest action movie of all time.
What?
So,
2
How
votes.
dare you? Are you fucking kidding me? Roadhouse? Or like
What?
Bloodsport?
No.
wait,
What?
He doesn't use guns and then he
Die
uses
Hard?
guns.
The Matrix? Anything with Gary Busey? Are you serious?
Gary Busey.
Leap?
the Pullman town was supposed to be some kind of capitalist wet dream. People lived in the town and shopped at the stores and worked at the factory there. But the company rented the homes, sold the food, and paid the workers. After a recession hits, the company slashes wages, but they don't slash the cost of room and board.
Oh, that's crazy. Now we call that the economy.
Yeah.
Can we all go on
Right,
strike?
right.
How does...
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out.
Now, you can argue that the deal sucked hardcore prior to the wage cut. Pullman rents were high, the wages were low, and the hours were abundant. But after the recession, he cut wages 40%. And this, in addition to not lowering costs, caused the strike. So these workers joined Debs' new union, and they tried to convince the owner to make some changes. They eventually walk off the job in May.
He's like, all right, you guys can have $40 raise. Side note, unrelated, rent's going up $40 this month. I don't know how to break it down.
So this strike actually had a huge ripple effect on the economy all across the nation. See, this was an industrial union, meaning all the people in the industry that were part of the union were involved in the strike. All the workers boycotted all the railroads that use Pullman car. So trains all over the country ground to a halt. A few weeks later, though, Grover Cleveland, that was the president at the time, called in the National Guard. They clashed with the strikers all across the nation. A bunch of trains are derailed, properties damaged. Many people are injured and 30 people die. The papers, of course, blame all this on the workers and specifically on Eugene Debs.
Okay, I love union striking so much, for all the obvious reasons. But I think my favorite is how it's the peak of passive aggressive. Like the literal meaning of those words each separately, like super passive, but super aggressive. And then the National Guard, the guys come in, they try to break it up, and they have to be like, stop, nothing, gang. What are we doing?
Was it like little baby Ronald Reagan just taking notes at this point? Just, okay,
No, it was grown-up Ronald Reagan.
I'm going to be in a movie with a monkey.
The U.S. government eventually steps in and stops the strike, claiming that it's obstructing U.S. mail. And it's good news and bad news for Debs. The good news is that there's a period of major unrest in the United States because of the Pullman strike. So they make a new national holiday, Labor Day. Bad news is Debs and 7 others are brought up on charges of conspiracy for their participation. Debs was defended at that trial by Clarence Darrow, who was just as successful as he was during the Scopes Monkey trial. Debs gets 6 months in jail.
He just leans over. Hey, Clarence, not trying to tell you how to do your job, but the part where you asked my boss if the Bible was true didn't feel super apropos at this trial.
Not great. Debs spent some time in jail, and jail sounds actually really, really nice. He's in a nice jail in Woodstock, Illinois, which is a cute small town in northern Illinois. He has a comfy bed. He gets to eat with the sheriff's family for dinner, gets visitors, has plenty of time for reading and reflection.
Nice.
Okay, when you read that and I'm thinking like, man, jail sounds like a significant lifestyle upgrade. We've maybe done society wrong. I'm just,
That sounds like my life, except, a little bit north of here.
So while in jail, he meets Nellie Bly, who interviews him, and he realizes that maybe capitalism isn't super great. And, quote, it was said that a friend left a copy of Das Kapital and prisoner Debs read it slowly, eagerly, ravenously, end quote.
okay, that part sounds like a penthouse letter. That does not sound like how you read Das Kapital.
It can be both, Tom.
Well, like a penthouse letter, it's probably a lie, Tom. So, yeah. Debs emerged from jail at the end of his sentence a changed man. He would spend the final 3 decades of his life proselytizing for the socialist cause. Now, the cause of the inspiration might not be accurate, and some people attribute his socialism to other authors, but he definitely was a socialist when he walked out of the jail.
All right. Well, Cecil's clearly putting together a folk song on his guitar and harmonica rig. So we're gonna take a quick break for some apropos of nothing.
All right, everyone, please rise for the 1870 presidential elections. Most of us don't know about germs, so this is very, very silly. We recognize the speaker from Missouri.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I represent the Scoot Scoot Party.
Scoot Scoot.
You know, those things you used to play on in gym class, like a roller skate that you sat on. You remember those?
Yeah.
The parachute game? Anyway, vote for me. Missouri.
All right. Good. Excellent speech. Excellent. And now the candidate from the new territory of Manitoba at Creole.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Oh, sorry. Mexico just took us back over. Never mind. I'm out.
All right. Enjoy Mexico. Fantastic. Next.
Hello, I'm the Republican. We are the good guys now, but we're gonna do a weird switcheroo thing in the 50s, so be on lookout for that. Should be lots and lots of fun.
All right. Well, gentlemen and gentlemen, because that's who can vote, you have your candidates. Go ahead and vote if you know how to write, and we'll meet up here in 4 years, and we'll do this again. Sound good, everyone?
I made my mark.
Order.
And we're back. When we left off, Eugene V Debs was leaving jail, throwing a match behind him and walking away in slow motion with a giant explosion behind him in the background. So, what happens next?
That reminds me of The Rundown, like where the explosion, he's walking in slow motion. Really great
so
movie.
good.
Anyway, the Pullman
When he fights
strike.
the whip guy?
Right? That's amazing. The Pullman strike actually gets him some great publicity. So much so that when he leaves jail, 6 months later, 100,000 people come to see him at the Chicago train station to hear him speak and welcome him back into society. After this, he realizes that he needs to start a political party.
And this, my friends, is why TikTok will be a political party by 2024.
Debs traveled across the country and spoke to crowds hungry for some equality. There were actually a lot of socialist groups back then, and Debs was suggested as the presidential nominee for the 1900 presidential election. He, of course, would only agree if the disparate socialist parties joined together under one banner. They did, and he got 0.6% of the popular vote that year. We're talking big structural change here. Big structural change.
I just want to know how he got all the socialist groups together under one banner. So, okay, someone's yelling at me on Facebook right now. I will read it to you. People's Front of Medicare for All, not Medicare for All. People's Front, you fucking Republican. We're all going to lose. We're all going to lose because we can't figure out which banner is the good team and which banner is the bad team.
I hate us so much. So
there's only two banners. I don't like it, but that's what's happening right now.
But if the banner is imperfect, you could pretend that there are no banners. That's actually...
Oh my God.
That's right. I like Tom's thing.
Yeah.
No, but you don't. You don't, though.
So what were Debs' crazy socialist policies? Well, chances are we wouldn't recognize them as socialist. Just like a person from Sweden doesn't think their healthcare is from a Marxist utopia, he's pushing for the 40-hour work week. He wants to enact child labor laws.
Ooh, lazy poo. Lazy. Get to work, kids.
He wanted people to have some kind of recourse when they were injured on the job. He wanted the right to a union. It was a socialist hell he was pushing for. Socialist hell.
Okay, so he wanted people to be allowed to compete freely in the labor market. That's weird, because that sounds super capitalist to me.
Yeah.
Were the capitalists not happy?
Sure does.
Okay, I mean, to be fair, Cecil, the last two, we're still not real solid on those. That's not a lock, is what I'm saying.
No.
Now, when he ran, he wasn't trying to win. He knew, like Andrew Yang, that he had no fucking chance of winning. Instead, he just wanted to bring attention to inequality and the horrific class struggle in the U.S. I'll point out that before Yang ran, we laughed about universal basic income, too.
Right. And now we laugh at it and we associate it with the time a Fortnite streamer ran for president. So, yeah, that's great.
You remember when W fixed the economy by giving everyone $300? When a Republican does it, it's a stimulus. It's a stimulus.
I still have that check framed on my wall just to be a dick.
$300.
Didn't stimulate anything. Fuck you.
As a socialist, he was for racial equality, which for a lot of people back then was a bitter pill to swallow. And it's also still like that. He felt like the only thing that really separated people was economic class, and the rest of the things we focused on were all made up to help do the separating. Debs said this about the employer class, quote, "I am opposing a social order in which it is possible for one man who does absolutely nothing that is useful to amass a fortune of hundreds of millions of dollars.
Discrimination.
While millions of men and women who work all the days of their lives secure barely enough for a wretched existence," end quote.
Yeah. Okay. So just to be clear, I love Eugene V Debs, but I've also read some slightly different accounts about the racial stuff. Some authors are saying, this white guy from the 1800s might actually been a little bit racist. Debs ended up supporting workers' rights for everyone, but according to some of these theories, that was only because having the black workers in a lower status would make it easier for management to exploit the white workers specifically. So he landed on equality via white power, which isn't great.
Oh, neat. Like that Nazi last week at Bernie's rally.
Jesus.
Heath, I'm a little confused, but does that mean that management was having a hard time exploiting workers before this? I mean, they needed help. There is such a thing as too much lube, right? I mean, at some point, that's just a lot. It's just
strong.
Now you're making a mess, is what I'm saying.
In 1905, he took part in the founding of the IWW, which is the International Workers of the World. This is another labor union that combined people that worked in the same trades as well as people who worked in the same industry. Debs ran again for president in 1904, got 3% of the popular vote, which was over 400,000 votes. And in 1908, he did it again, 400,000 votes, 3% of the overall popular vote.
Oh, yeah. Pulling in those sweet Tulsi Gabbard numbers now. Here comes the Debs train, everybody.
Okay.
Way more than the sweet Tulsi Gabbard numbers, actually.
I love that he got exactly 4 times as many people as showed up physically to greet him when he left prison. Nobody votes. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't matter what time. Everyone's so excited, but none of us vote.
Man, it was a dystopia back then, too.
Right.
In 1912, the inclusion of the Socialist Party in the presidential race really started to pay off. Some of the other people that were running were Teddy Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson. They started adopting some of the socialist policies to lure voters to their side. Many of the labor issues of the day were being addressed around this time.
Oh, fine. Okay, fine. We'll go down to an 80-hour work week, and if your kid gets stuck in the gears of the machines, we'll slow it down so you can recover the bodies. Jeez, Tommy snowflakes. God.
Why don't you just put a string on your kid? That way you could just pull him out when he goes, what the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, I want all the pieces, whatever.
Yeah.
Put the little bear backpack on him.
This is a really good year for the socialists. Locally, the socialists elect 1,000 representatives from around the country and over 300 socialist mayors. Debs gets almost 6% of the popular vote, almost 1 million people.
That's good stuff.
The incumbent, William Taft, only received 3.5 million votes. Also, just to let you know, that election, the Democrats secured 41% of the vote, the Republicans got 23%, and the Progressive Party, not the Socialist Party, received 27% of the vote and more electoral states than the Republican. Make America great again.
Ranked choice voting. That election
There you go. By Kumite. Sorry, I thought we were just,
hey, mine is withdrawn. Kumite.
Sorry, I thought we were just saying good ideas that'll never happen. Go, you do your thing. You do yours.
But seriously, ranked choice voting. We have
Right?
the two-party system goes away overnight pretty much, and we have just a bunch of good candidates, and we get to rank them and pick the best one. What the fuck?
Yeah, we're doing awesome with the pick your favorite guy system, so we should complicate it. I agree.
It uncomplicates you don't need primaries with ranked choice voting.
Okay, but what we should do is just introduce legislation that the two existing parties have to vote on in order to. Okay, it's not going to happen.
You heard it? You heard it?
Yeah.
All right. I felt it.
Yep,
Okay.
I got it.
Yep.
In 1914, the First World War breaks out, and the socialists, who were fucking baller at organizing, have their own press, a bunch of equality-minded leaders. They're 100% against involvement, and they are dead set on protesting entering the war and the draft itself.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, if you think the government didn't care about your safety when you're at home, you are going to love what's going to happen next. This is...
Yep. And for 3 years, Debs and the other socialists protested the war. But in 1917, Congress passed the Espionage Act, which made it a crime to convey information with the intent to interfere with the operation or success of the armed forces of the United States or promote the success of its enemies. This was punishable by death or by imprisonment for not more than 30 years or both.
Damn. Who knew telling people about student loan forgiveness was a war crime?
Yeah.
I like that they'll put you to death and then keep you in jail.
I know.
For 30
I didn't know which one comes first. They like spin a wheel. It's like Twister when you get.
They put a giant helmet on you and put you on a donkey facing backwards into the desert. It's like a whole thing.
In Ohio, the next year, Debs gives an anti-war speech in direct defiance of the law. Here's part of Debs' anti-war speech. Quote, "And here let me emphasize the fact, and it cannot be repeated too often, that the working class who fight all the battles, the working class who make all the supreme sacrifices, the working class who freely shed their blood and furnish the corpses, have never had a voice in either declaring war or making peace. It is the ruling class that invariably does both. They alone declare war and they alone make peace." End quote.
Stop resisting, Eugene. Yeah. Stop resisting. Stop it. You're under arrest.
Yep.
Okay, but Cecil, if the workers made the rules, then they would just be the ruling class. The whole thing would start over. I mean, you may as well pick one.
Dude, don't plagiarize from Ben Shapiro like that. What is wrong with you? God. So anyway, this lands Debs in jail. He's charged with 10 counts of violating the Espionage Act. He was tried, and the defense called no witnesses. Instead, Debs gave the closing argument. Quote, "Your Honor, years ago, I recognized my kinship with all living beings, and I made up my mind then that I was not one bit better than the meanest on earth. I said then, and I say now, that while there is a lower class, I am in it. And while there is a criminal element, I am of it. And while there is a soul in prison, I am not free." End quote.
Boo nerd. Gavel.
Jesus Christ. Yep, pretty much. Debs is convicted of 3 counts of trying to obstruct the draft and sentenced to 10 years. That's pretty much what happened.
Yep. Ooh, damn. That's a lot of dinners with the sheriff's family.
Supreme Court eventually ruled on the appeal and confirmed the conviction. They claimed that freedom of speech meant something different in wartime than it did in peacetime, and Debs started his prison sentence in April of 1919.
Okay, but to be fair, baby Susan Collins was both perturbed and upset by that ruling, guys. Upset and perturbed. Yeah. And baby Tulsi Gabbard was present.
Yeah. She was actually, I don't know, it was like early middle-aged Susan Collins at this point. But yeah, I get it. Debs in 1920 decided to run for president from prison. The slogan was "the jailhouse to the White House."
Yeah, we have that in Illinois. We just reverse the phrase.
Yeah.
So
possibly in Washington too. We'll see.
While Debs couldn't do the things that a normal candidate would do, like travel and give speeches, he was allowed to give a weekly press release, which I think is awesome.
It's amazing.
And,
happening in that jail.
He got almost 1 million votes, 6% of the popular vote from a jail cell. The president that beat him in the election, Warren G. Harding, commuted his sentence in 1921. And when Debs left prison, he left the entire cell block cheering for him.
God damn.
Warren G. Harding pardoned him? Or commuted him?
Yep.
That's not great. Like, you're meeting with him, you're like, hey, that's cool, but like, you might want to save your pardony stuff for you.
Debs, after release, slowed down a bit as his health was compromised from the shitty prison conditions. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize in 1924 on the grounds that Debs started to work actively for peace in World War I, mainly because he considered the war to be in the interest of capitalism. He died in 1926. Now, from Wikipedia, I just want to read this, quote, the current Vermont senator, the presidential candidate Bernie Sanders, has been a longtime admirer of Debs and produced a 1979 documentary about Debs, which was released as a film and also an audio LP. In the documentary, he described Debs as, quote, probably the most effective and popular leader that the American working class has ever had, end quote.
Okay, but maybe we shouldn't be so excited about how effective a guy was that got at its peak 6% of the vote. Maybe
right.
effective is not the adjective we're looking for. Is what
probably not. You're right. I hard agree. Sanders hung a portrait of Debs in City Hall in Burlington, Vermont, where he served as mayor of the city in the 1980s, and he has a plaque dedicated to Debs in his congressional office. Hopefully, Sanders gets more than 6% of the popular vote, everybody. We'll see.
Hopefully he gets 0% of the popular vote because he's not going to be the nominee. I want him to be. He's not going to be.
Okay.
And he's going to get more than 0% of the popular vote, and it might fuck everything up. I'm just saying, pay attention. Wow.
Okay.
All right. You have to summarize what you've learned in one sentence. Bernie Sanders is awesome. That's not the point of what I just said. What would it be, Cecil?
Well, Socialist Party, maybe a strong third party candidate might actually be able to do
I'm listening.
something. I don't know, just
great.
Be able
So
to,
you've learned nothing. Are you ready for the fucking quiz? Great.
Third party candidate, Jill Stein forever. Anyway, go ahead.
All right, I'll go first. I'm having a great day. So if Eugene V Debs came back to life today, and let's say Joe Biden wins the Democratic nomination, not that I want him to, but let's say that's what happens. Who will Eugene V Debs, the father of American socialism, be voting for in November? A, Joe Biden, you fucking idiot. I can't believe this is even a discussion. I'm going back to being dead. It was just A. There was no other options. It was A.
I think it's secret answer B. He'd vote for Joe Biden.
Correct.
All right, Cecil. Capitalism is the answer.
You bet.
What, however, was the question?
Okay.
A, why don't you shut up, you fucking baby? B, are you crying? Do you want something to cry about? C, you look hungry. Are you hungry? Or D, do these Louboutins make my feet look fat?
Secret answer E, these are all chapters in Charlie Kirk's new book. So there you go.
You got it.
Capitalism. Rub some dirt in it. Love it.
All right, Cecil. We've had a lot of fun today with Heath's blood pressure, but what are the real problems with socialism? A, when people imagine themselves to be billionaires under socialism, they have to imagine themselves with a smaller percentage of imaginary money they'll never have.
Okay.
I want that shirt.
You
I
just
want that
described
shirt.
every Republican voter except for the
God,
billionaires.
I want that
Literally
shirt.
every single one.
Holy shit, is that perfect? That is absolutely perfect.
B, if the United States became socialist, how are we supposed to invade ourselves?
Okay, well.
Or C, if there weren't any poor people, who could I feel superior to?
Wow.
Well, it's definitely not B because I have a feeling Trump's going to invade sanctuary cities eventually. So I love A so much. It's got to be A, right?
Correct. Yes.
All right.
Oh, wow. Eli, too real, buddy. Too real. But you also win for the realityness. The real. You win.
All right, then I choose Tom as next week's essayist.
Hard pass.
Someone who loves money for a change.
All right. Well, for Tom, Noah, who'll be back next week, Cecil, and Eli, I'm Heath. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week. And by then, Tom, whether he likes it or not, I hope he's an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can hear Tom and Cecil on Cognitive Dissonance, and you can hear Eli, Noah, and myself on God Awful Movies, The Scathing Atheist, and The Skeptocrat, and D&D minus. It's out. It's official. We're playing D&D on a podcast. We should have called it 2Ds in a pod. Everybody vetoed my shit, even though that's like the greatest pun ever.
Pod sounds like
How
a
great.
great
Thank you, Tom. Amazing.
That sounds like a fucking amazing porn title.
Such a good everything title. Thank you. It won an applause-meter with our crowd in Los Angeles, but I still got vetoed. It's fine.
Jesus.
Fine. Anyway, if you'd like to support our Podcare for All plan that we have, Podcare for All, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, listen to past episodes, connect with us on social media, or take a look at the show notes, be sure to check out citationpod.com.
11, 12, 13 votes for McEnroy? Never mind. I counted too slowly. He died. So Iowa caucus, everybody. It's Iowa caucus time.
Again?
I hate it when we Iowa caucus.
So many times.
Worse.
You will Iowa caucus and you will like it.